Hello and welcome to
Totally booked right
Totally Booked
now.
Right Now.
Yay!
All right, that sounded like we
Welcome.
were together, but
It
I
probably
don't
was
know. This is our first episode. We wanted to do a quick intro episode before we get into our regularly scheduled content so we could introduce ourselves, talk about how we met, why we want to do the podcast, what it will look like or sound like, books we might want to cover this year, and then just talk about our love of reading and our histories with
yes.
it and how we rate books and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm
my name's
Cami.
Kristen.
Yeah. Woo. Hey, maybe that was in sync.
Cami, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, you got it. I am a mom and I do love to read a lot, like a lot, a lot. Last year when I tracked, now unfortunately I didn't track what were rereads last year, but I read
Mm.
160 books last year. So I read a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
aren't you special? I only read 93, so
But hey, we're up there.
still a
We're
lot.
up there for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, how did we meet each other? That's kind of a funny little story on this, I think.
Yes. Well, we met through a mutual friend. Hi, Felicia.
We love you,
I
Felicia.
Yeah. Maybe I'll be a guest one day, but I work with Felicia, and she got married. Then she had a little. It was like a post-marriage
Yeah.
bachelorette party,
Mhm.
in Palm Springs, California. I had never been there before. I went to the bachelorette party. Felicia had told me. I mean, I was gonna say warned, but I mean, not really. She was like,
No, Warren. Yes.
"My friend Cammy's gonna be there. She really likes to read too." And I was like, "Really? Say less. I'm
I know.
excited." I was a little nervous though too, because I mean, I didn't know anybody, and I came a day late.
Yeah. Yeah. And I knew Felicia really well and one other girl that came along with us on that trip. But yeah, Felicia kind of gave me the same thing. She was like, "Okay, well, my friend Kirsten is coming and she reads a lot too. So I think you guys are going to have a lot to talk about." And then you saw my ACOTAR tattoo while we were laying out by the pool. And I was like, "Yes, someone else."
And then we talked about Manacled a little bit.
Yes, we did. And just, well, Harry Potter and kind of books
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
general. And Felicia, she's joked with kind of both of us. She's like, "So, when you have two really good friends and then they meet each other and then they form their own friendship, like outside of you," she's like, "That's what you did to me. You guys are such good
Yeah.
friends now outside of me."
Yeah. That is a serious betrayal. Sorry.
Sorry, but we still
But
love you. It's not like she's,
oh, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, of course, of course.
Well, and then when we got back from the bachelorette party,
Mhm,
we
mhm.
were talking on Instagram a little bit. We kind of buddy read a book together. It was not a
Yeah,
good book. I mean, it was good. The beginning of it was funny and good, and then
the
I
pumpkin
didn't
and the
really like
patch,
it. Yeah,
right?
yeah. The
That one.
premise so funny. This girl writes
I
a fan
know.
fiction in high school about this boy she has a crush on that wears a patch because
Patch.
something happened to his eye. And it got leaked to the entire school. Like, such a funny concept. And then she runs
Yeah.
into him again when she's grown up, and it turns out
Mhm.
they're teaching at the same school, or he's a parent. She's teaching
At
his
this
child.
Yeah. Yeah.
So her trying to hide from him and stuff was pretty funny, but then it just got it was
It did. It
too
just kinda, like, fell off a little bit.
it was like too
It
sickly
didn't live
sweet.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. We like
Yeah.
some conflict.
Yes.
They got together too easily.
Yes. It
But
was a little
then
too easy all
uh,
the way across.
yeah, so for a while we only talked on Instagram, then we finally started
Mhm.
talking through text, and then I started a book club. Finally, after 10 years of living here, I have friends. We were in book club together, and
Mhm.
then in November, something miraculous
I
happened.
In November book club, I got there and I was like, "Kirsten, one of my favorite books I've ever read called Heated Rivalry is getting made into a TV show, but it's only going to be released in Canada. So do you want to read it really quick and then fly to Vancouver and stay with me over New Year's so that we can watch this show?"
Yeah.
And you were like, "Yeah, weirdo. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
had
about that."
never heard of
Yeah.
it at all. Yes.
Yeah.
So
And
then
then I think
maybe
I
a
frantically
week
texted
later or
you
something.
and was like, "HBO picked
Yeah.
it up." And you were like, "Okay, well then I will read it." And I was like, "Okay, well now that I know it's
Yeah.
available, I'll reread it too." And then
Mhm. Yes, it was,
the
like a whim,
insanity.
and then my life changed forever. The hyperfixation is so real. Heated
Mhm.
Rivalry is an amazing book. The show,
Yes.
phenomenal. Can't get
Phenomenal.
enough.
Yes.
I haven't
Mhm.
left I have been able to, like, break out of it a little bit.
a little
But
bit. But then it just I keep thinking I'm doing okay, and then
yeah,
I'm right back in it again. I haven't left the
yeah,
cottage. I keep thinking I'm in the driveway at least, but nope.
looking through the window.
I'm looking through the window.
But we
Yes.
had such a fun time reading that book together. I had just
Yes.
started getting into annotating physical books with little tabbies, and then
Mhm.
I started highlighting and using the notes and annotations in my Kindle for the first time along with that because it's been helpful for book club. So that was
Yes.
how kind of how I started, but then I started sending you screenshots and you were like, "Wait, you can do that?" So we were sending
Yeah.
each other screenshots, we were talking constantly.
And we were like, "I had that quote too. Oh my god, I love that part." It formed the bond, like, really
Yes.
strong, especially
Yeah.
because of those books. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so I think I made a joke, we should start a podcast, and then the seed was planted. And I'm just like really I feel really grateful that you're here and you match my freak to
Yes.
such a perfect level.
It's so amazing to talk to someone with the same type of, like, hyperfixation and obsession that you start getting with books.
Yes.
We also are very compatible with the kind of books that we like to read. Like, I feel like we're both
Yeah.
very much into a lot of different genres, but our go-to stuff is very similar. So we have that
Yeah.
connection too. And it's so nice because I'm usually like that person that is like, I'm reading and if I'm trying to buddy read with somebody, I'm like, okay, I've
Mhm.
been done with this book for 2 weeks and I've read 5 other books since the last time I talked to you. Can you please hurry
Yes.
up with this? I need someone to talk to
Yeah.
about this. Yes. So,
Yeah. We have been able to keep I have felt like I've been treading water a little bit, but we're getting our sea legs, figuring out
yes.
our
Our,
system or whatever. But I
yes.
think we're
We're
figuring it
getting,
out. It's gonna be great.
yeah.
I think we're
Yeah.
gonna have a good systems. I get that segues into what we want our episodes to look like or what our vision is for
Hmm.
this. So basically, we're going to read a book together. We summarize it as we're reading, and then we'll just talk about it in extreme depth.
Yes.
Like, read out the summary, interject our thoughts and feelings, talk about the
Hmm.
things we liked or didn't like, and just as long as it takes, we're
Yeah.
going to get
As
through
long
the
as
whole
it
book.
takes. Yeah. Just gonna do deep dive that we'll pull quotes out. We'll kind of do our internal analytics of the story as we're going through it. And then
Mhm.
I will do my best not to get too far ahead and spoil it for everybody on things that are
Right.
coming up
Jump
that we
back.
haven't got to yet.
Cami gets excited.
I do. And then I'm like, "Oh, wait, this
No.
part." And I gotta be quiet.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet. But yeah, and then we'll kinda do a brief summary at the very end. More brief than the summary of the book, but kinda
Right, or
just go over
anything
our
that
own.
didn't fit into our yeah,
Mhm.
into what we already talked about or anything we forgot
Which,
about.
yeah, so then we'll give it a rating scale, how many stars we would give it, and this might be a good point too to kinda discuss how we rate so that when we get to
Mhm.
that point in the episode, people will kinda understand where we're at with that. So, star rating for you, how does that generally look for you? How does that work? How do you rate your books?
Yes, so I usually do it on a 1 through 5 scale. I don't know
Mhm.
if I would rate a book that I DNF'd, but I guess that would be 0 stars or 1, 1, but
Yeah.
from obviously 1 is the worst. It's like if I literally am, like, forcing myself to read it and finish it, but I kinda wanna be better this year about just not forcing
Yeah.
myself to do that because I've never powered through and finished a book and been like, "Wow, glad I did that. It got better."
Right.
It's always
Right.
I feel like I'm at the point, like, I know when it's gonna be not good. So I wanna
Mhm.
try to DNF more this year, but and 2 stars is like, eh, I, like, definitely wouldn't recommend I might actively tell somebody not to read it, but I was able to get through it fairly painlessly,
Mhm.
and all of this is, like, vibes too. And then 3 stars is solid read. It was good, I never had to, like, force myself to read. It's like I would say most books are, like, 3 stars, like, just
Mhm.
it's a good book. I wouldn't reread it. I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it to somebody, but if somebody asked me, I'd be like, "Yeah, sure. Totally read it."
Yeah, I've read that. It's fine. Yeah.
Mhm, yep, or if, there's, like, a specific genre they were asking me about and I was able to actually, like, list stuff out, I would maybe include it. And then 4 stars is getting into I would reread it territory, like, it's maybe has some it's just above that, like, I wanted to read it. It's just elevated a little bit. I'd
Mhm.
maybe go out of my way to recommend it to somebody. Um, and then 5 stars is, like Psychosis. I'm obsessed with it. It's perfect, or it's, like, really beautifully written, or just, like, the
Mm,
story. Because even I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, some five-star like, American Dirt. Have you ever read that book?
okay. I have not.
I mean, it's heavy. It's about this woman who's, like, escaping Mexico. She's running from a cartel that killed her entire family, and she's trying to escape with her son. So it's a really heavy book, but almost immediately when I
Mhm.
started reading it, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a five-star book." Like, it just is really beautifully written and,
Right.
like, a powerful story. So but and also, I mean, like, Heated Rivalry is also 5 stars. So we run the gamut. I would almost venture to say, like, that's 6 stars, but
For sure. Yeah.
so, yeah, and then sometimes it's vibes. I feel like sometimes I'll give, I might be like, "That was 4 stars," and then I think about it more and I'm like, "Actually, it's 3," so
Yeah. Yeah.
what about you?
I am probably a little bit more of a generous star giver in
Yeah.
general to a lot of books. I feel like I read a lot of indie authors, and so I sometimes feel bad giving a book like a
Mhm.
poor star rating if they don't have that many reviews. So sometimes I will just not even rate, like I'll just mark it that I've read it and don't want to because there are so many books that I'm like, well, that just wasn't like the trope wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
That one character just really irritated me. And like sometimes that's positive feedback for the author to get, like if you do go in and you do write those reviews. But generally, if I DNF a book, I don't rate it. And I am with you. I've gotten better over the last year of just saying, I don't like this book. It's not giving me the feeling that I want to feel right now. And,
Mhm.
my TBR is just too long to power through a
Yeah.
book that I'm not really enjoying that much, so I won't do that. So I would say that if you look, like, at my Goodreads, I bet my average star rating for the books that I do rate is 4 stars and above, just because books that I DNF or that if it was an indie author that I kinda gave a try that I didn't really like, I just won't rate it for them. But as far as the rating scale goes, I'm pretty similar to you. I would say that 3-star reads for me are ones that I enjoyed, but would not go out of my way to talk about to other people, or that I don't wanna call it like a brag, but that's not a book that I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I just finished this book. It was great,"
Yeah.
or anything like
Right.
that. 4-star reads for me are, I mean, if it made me laugh, if it made me cry, if there was any point that I didn't wanna put it down or I had to get to, like, that next part, because I definitely have FOMO when it comes to reading. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot put it down. So
Mhm.
any book that really has me so hooked that I almost, like, forget about what else is going on around me, it's gonna be a 4 or
Mhm.
5 star, and it doesn't have to be a particular genre, like you were kinda talking about. There's not a particular genre that I always go to that will always get those high, like, rating factors, but I do feel like I'm probably a little bit more generous with my stars
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
just in general for books, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I see, and I don't rate things on Goodreads, so I don't have that element
Mm,
of it's just my personal rating.
sure.
I was
Yes.
thinking about that, talking about it on this podcast, pretending like more than 20 people will listen to this, but
Right.
being like, "Oh, I will feel bad," maybe talking shit, but not too and I also read a ton of fan fiction, and fiction etiquette is you don't talk about ones you don't like. If you don't like it, you don't read it, right?
Right.
Fan fiction is free, it's a gift. It'd be like if your grandma gave you a sweater, you're just gonna say, "Thank you, grandma," and put it away, and you're not gonna be like, "Grandma, this fucking sweater sucks. I can't believe it."
Right.
So I kind of, especially in the last 2 years since I've been reading fan fiction, I have adopted that mentality a lot more of
Mhm.
just being like, yeah, just because I didn't like it does not mean other people are not gonna like it. There's plenty of people that love something that I just did not like.
Right.
So,
Right.
these are just our opinions, people.
Right. Exactly. And so that's why sometimes I feel bad about that too. And then I also try not to judge books based upon the number of stars that they already have,
Mm,
because sometimes I will read a review of somebody who gave something like a 2 to 3 star, for example, and I'm just like,
mhm.
"What?" Like, you just talked about how amazing and how much you love this book. So our rating scales are automatically just so different than, when
Right.
you read that kind of stuff, that you kinda have to take a step back. And so I encourage people, like, even if you find a book that maybe doesn't have the above a 4.25 or whatever kind of
Yeah.
number that you assign in your head, that it has to be above that rating in order to read it, like, maybe kind of filter through, because there are going to be, a lot of times those outliers that kind of drag things
Mhm.
down, especially if you're reading a book that doesn't have a ton of reviews yet or
Yeah.
ratings.
And
Yeah.
that's making me think, I mean, it's this day and age, that you have
Right.
start everything you read, you can see what other people think about it. There's things to influence you versus back when we were in college or the good old days when I
Mhm.
would just go into a bookstore and browse and buy random books. I was not getting
Right.
recs on TikTok. I was not doing whatever. I was just reading the backs of books, thinking the cover was cool and getting them,
Right.
And I want to talk about this more later, but like just getting back to not having these outside pressures, picking the books I wanna read this year or just trying to get through as many as possible, just kind of trying to
Yeah.
just go with the flow, man?
Yeah. And just enjoy it because it 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 should be an enjoyable activity no matter what.
Mhm.
And that's also why
Yeah, for sure.
DNFing is why I think it is more
Yeah,
important
but I
because
have such a
why push through?
yeah, I have a problem with that. There was this
I know.
like, yeah, I'll always read, like I'm like, "I own it," and now I'm like, "I just need to get rid of this fucking book." I have it on my shelf, and I'm never gonna read it.
Mhm.
Anyway, okay. What about your, spice rating, your chili peppers?
So, spice rating, it depends on the person that I'm talking to for how
Mhm,
spicy I will say a book is. But generally, if it's not a romance, then obviously it's going to get as nothing at all. But if it's like a
mhm.
closed door or fade to black, which is not my favorite thing, but
That's a DNF.
yeah. But if that so happens to occur, that would maybe be like the 1 to 2, and it just kinda depends on, if there's, like, additional things that happen, maybe within
Mhm.
the book, like, if there's multiple scenes, but they're all kind of closed door, fade to black, and then 3 to 4 is when you've got on-page scenes that are maybe somewhat explicit, but maybe not as detailed. 4 to 5 can mean, like, you've got multiple paragraphs or multiple pages of very in-depth, detailed scenes.
Mhm.
So that's my personal rating, but what I would tell my mother is a 5 chili pepper read versus you is totally different. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I never really have thought about rating spice, like,
Mhm.
before. So, most of the time, if I was gonna do that, it would be just, "Hey, this is an super unhinged." I once again read a bunch of fan fiction, which can be just off the wall
Mhm. Yeah.
crazy, and so that really will color when you're reading just like a
Mhm.
published book that's, somebody is not used to spice, and then they read that and they're like, "Oh my god." And I'm like, "What? What? I didn't even know
I
that."
know.
That didn't
Like,
even
even
register on the scale. So,
I mean, jumping back to our heated rivalry book club group chat, because we read it and you were like, "Oh my god, everybody, you have to read this." And I was like,
yeah.
"Wait a
See, I
second."
don't yeah, and I'm like, "Hey, who cares?" You know?
Yeah. I was like, "I mean, just in
I
case you get a
know.
little uncomfortable with that, just wanna give you the heads up that
Mhm.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
that in there." And
Right, and I'm like,
yeah,
"Who cares about that? The
the
emotions, the
it's the
whatever," and, like,
story.
that
I know.
totally, like, overrides everything else for me, and I'm just like, "What?
Mhm.
What are you talking
Yes.
about?" Or, I was, like, telling everybody to, read Manacled, and now, time plus
Mhm.
distance, and I'm like, "Hey, maybe that's not the best maybe that's not the best thing to read." Innocent little
Well,
person that's never read a
yeah.
book before. Yeah,
Right.
so,
Right. Yeah. So it does depend
anyway,
on
yeah.
that. So
Yes, so that'll be a fun exercise. I think the more I do it, who knows? I might, I'm sure things will change, but
yeah,
that'll be serious vibes. So don't take me seriously with my chili pepper
chili
ratings.
pepper.
You never know.
So I wanted to we might jump around a little bit here, but I was going to
Yeah.
ask you a little bit about like your history of reading and kind of how if that's looked different at different stages of your life or if you've kind of always been consistent with how you read and what you read and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, I've always been a reader. I've slowly built my book collection over the years. I look back at, my two bookshelves in college with like 10 books on it, and be like, ah. And now there are books literally all over my house. But yeah, I've always pretty consistently read, but especially in the last probably 5-ish years with the discovery of Book Talk and just getting rec after rec after rec, and starting to, like, journal or keep track of my reading. I never
Mhm.
did that before. That has changed sort of how I approached reading. So I would say probably without trying in the past, I would just have read probably like 40 to 50 books a year. 30 to 40,
Mhm.
with not really trying. But then after I started making a list of all the books I have, and it turned more into just wanting to cross things off a list almost, really being like, "Okay, here's my plan for the year, and blah blah blah." And just really like putting pressure on myself that I just created for myself for no reason.
Mhm.
I also would like at the beginning of the year, I would like write out my entire TBR. But back when it was only like 180 books, so it's not that bad. Now I literally have over like 1,200, and which is just stupid. I might as well just own a bookstore and be like, I want to read everything inside the bookstore. And so anyway, I'd write it down, and then immediately it's out of date. And so then I would be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
well, I have this new book. I can't read. I need to read what's on the list that I just wrote." So what I'm doing this year is I'm gonna uh do it after the year is over. I actually did it for the year before, like where I make my list for 2025. Was
Mm.
making it now. And so that way I can highlight
Mhm.
everything that I read, which is just like what's the point of a list if you can't cross something off of it? So it's like if you have a list and then the things you're reading aren't on the list, you can't even cross them off. Huh, and they have to be in alphabetical order or
Right.
else my brain explodes. So anyway, I feel free this year. Like I finally got Kindle Unlimited. I was able to just browse and like get these books that I've seen and been like, I can't, I'm not going to get it. I can't because I have all these other books to read. I'm just like, no, I'm going to be a feral raccoon this year and just read
Mhm.
whatever I want when I want. I'm going to stop reading shitty books. And yeah,
Mhm.
and then I still have my list, obviously. And I'm hoping that, okay, here's a brief history of my life. Always been a reader, whatever. I started trying to like really get through my list. I have Amazon Prime too, so, like, every month,
Uh-huh.
Amazon Prime first reads or God, when it's like, "Pick 2 this month," I'm like, "God damn it, Amazon. I already have enough to fucking read." But it's free, so of course I get it. Then I was, like, signed up for BookBub emails, which is a website where you can get emails
Mhm.
that send you book deals, free books, and I'd be like, "Well, this seems fine. It has a bunch of stars, a bunch of reviews. It's free. I'm just gonna download it." So, it's just, like, too many, and then I discovered Hermione fan fiction, which is Draco and Hermione, and that's what Manacled is. That was the first one I read. I read Manacled, and these 3 other fics, The Right Thing to Do, All the Wrong Things, in the Auction in 2 weeks, all of those, and they're so long. I
Yeah.
literally worked another full-time job reading those 4 fics, which was, like a fever dream, and so then rec after rec, so many the majority of my, like, TBR now is just fan fictions that I've downloaded,
Mhm.
and it's insane, but at least they're all free. So then I was
Mhm.
just in that pit where I couldn't escape, and then Heated Rivalry broke me out of that. So Hermione helped me stop getting published book recommendations. And then now Heated Rivalry has like broken me out of the Hermione hole that I was in, which I didn't really want to escape from, but I do feel I'm like, oh my God, there's a whole world out here. And so now I'm like, okay, I think I can be cool. I think I could read a fan fiction, maybe, read a couple, whatever, but I can still, because there was a 2-year
Mhm.
period where I was like, I don't even want to read anything else, only
Mhm.
Draco and Hermione, like falling in love over and over again. So yeah, I don't know. This 2026 is the year, man.
The year. The
I
year.
shed my snake skin and I'm a cow or whatever the year it is. I don't know what year it is. A horse? I don't know. It's a year of
I think
change
it's a horror. Yeah.
and everything's gonna be cool, at least reading wise. The world is a dumpster fire, but
Mhm.
yeah, so that's
Yes.
my
Yeah.
journey. What about you?
Oh, about me. So, I would have to say that my mom, she reads quite a bit, not to the level that I read now, but she always had a
Yeah.
book. Her and my grandmother, they would trade books all the time. They would go to book sales and get books that were on sale, and then they'd read them and swap them. I mean, I just remember
Mhm.
grocery bags. Every time we'd go see my grandma, they were trading books. So, I
That's
definitely got
so
the book
fun.
bug from her. I would say that getting the Harry Potter book for my 10th birthday was a huge deal for me. I was
Mhm.
convinced that I was going to get my letter to Hogwarts, and reading that series throughout my childhood really it got me interested
Yeah,
in
that was
reading
so
just in
fun
general.
too, going to, like, the
It was the
midnight book
best.
releases and stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
that was a
yeah.
great time.
Yes, every single one. We went to every single my so funny story about this. So my mom and I, we would get a game plan together for going and buy because we wouldn't buy 2 books. We would only buy 1, but she
Yeah.
would be like, "Okay, you get midnight to 2, I get 2 or midnight to 3, I get 3 to 6, then I'll go back
Oh.
to sleep and you get 6 to 9." So that we could essentially be reading it together, but like
Yeah,
not. And so we would just switch off every couple hours with reading the Harry Potter books because we were
that's
that like
amazing. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I get it. My
Yeah.
I just my dad is the reader
Yeah.
in my family, but he reads, like, boring, but I don't think he reads fiction. I mean, I know he's read Harry Potter, but
Mhm.
it's like the physics or something else, and he also does have floor to ceiling bookshelves in my parents' room, and it has a ladder. That's my
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah,
Oh my
I
gosh, yeah.
aspire.
Yes. And then other books, I mean, I feel like I was probably into every stereotypical, like, tween book that came out in the 2000s.
Mhm.
Twilight, The Hunger Games, Divergent, I mean, read all of them.
Divergent. Oh my god.
Divergent, oh my god.
It's
4,
such a
okay.
classic story. Yeah, for me, the movie is such a good I watched it recently and I was like, "Oh my god, this is such a good, like, book to movie
Mhm,
adaptation," which I
mhm,
don't say that often, but so many times, all those books where it'd be like, "I'm just gonna pick this up." I remember being like, "Oh,
mhm.
Divergent. I'm just gonna read it a little bit."
Yeah.
And then 6 hours later, it's like 2 in the morning. I'm like, "I can't put it down." Anyway,
Mhm.
I keep interrupting you, sorry.
No, you're fine. So I would say that I went through that. And then when I went to college, I did not want to really read anything else besides what was required. I was pretty burnt out by the time I went to college with just doing the school stuff. So I feel like I kind of took a break. And then once I was about 25, 26, I got a Kindle for the first time. And that kind of changed things because I
Yeah.
figured out that I don't really love holding a physical book to read it. I actually really and for me, it's a weird I like to watch the percentage,
That is
like how
so
much
nice,
I've
or knowing how
completed so
much you
far.
have left in your chapter. I
Mhm.
love that.
Mhm.
Like,
Exact
"Oh, 8 more
yes, I
minutes?
love that. Or how many
Yes."
minutes? Yes, yes.
Yes, yeah, I love.
So I got the Kindle and then that changed, but I was probably more of like the 1 book a month kind of person. Like I was pretty slow. Like pick up and read for 20 minutes to a half an hour a day maybe, like it wasn't a huge thing.
Mhm,
I would maybe read on my lunch break for a little bit if I could. And then COVID hit and no new movies, no new TV shows, like nothing was kind of coming out and everything was a little bit depressing. And so
mhm,
I was on Instagram and I got one of those things that said, "Hey, if you liked Harry Potter as a kid, you should check this out," kind of thing. It was from Blood and Ash by Jennifer. I'm not going to say her last name right.
uh,
Armentrout.
yeah,
I don't know how to say it. Yes.
I have not read
So
that.
read those books in like a normal speed. Like it probably I can't remember if it was only the first 2 or the first 3. I can't remember that were out at that point when I read those. It took me a little while, but then it recommended ACOTAR, like the Kindle recommended ACOTAR to
Mm,
me after that. And then I just absolutely devoured all of those books and it blew my mind. It really felt it it was the first books that I had read that were really like, "Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this." I mean, I got a
yeah,
tattoo for it, for God's sake,
such a good
so it's just
feeling. It's like,
mm,
it's all I want is that manic, I can't put it down, I
exactly,
just chasing
exactly.
that high constantly.
And that's what I feel like it's really turned into, is that I'm always looking for that next, like, wow, the next
Mhm,
book that's gonna give me the wow that I can't put down, that I
yeah,
have to tell everyone about, that I'm going to bore my husband to death telling him about every little minute detail
yeah,
of. So that's where it got me to where I am now, thanks to a little bit of insomnia as well. That's how I really read so
yeah.
much, and
And you will,
it's
like, wake up early and read. I
mhm,
mean, I guess it's an accident, but, like, that blows my
yeah.
mind. I
Like,
stay
if
up
I
until, like, 1 or something, but
But see, I will, like, wake up at, like, 4 AM and not be able to go back to sleep, and so then I'll
mhm.
read for, like, 2.5 hours before I have to start getting up and getting
Yeah,
ready for the day. But then I
right.
read at night too, so it's kinda never
Yeah,
ending. Yes.
right, right.
So, yeah. So what are your go-to genres? I know we kinda talked about we read a lot of everything, but what is
Yeah,
your go-to?
yeah. I mean, I in the past, I would say I have pretty eclectic taste, but I feel like it's been funneling a little bit lately, or I've just been like, "You know what? I think I've discovered my genre," right? Like, I've read enough stuff, but especially with Kindle and I've had a Kindle for so long at this point that I didn't even think to, like, mention, you know what I mean? Like, that's really changed my reading habits, but I resisted it for a little bit, but it is so nice to have everything with you all
Right.
the time. So many options you don't have to lug around. I would take, like 4 to 6 books with me if I traveled anywhere. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
ridiculous. So having a Kindle is amazing, and, having the little clicky page turner and the stand that
Y
attaches to my bed, best thing ever. But anyway, eclectic taste, a lot more like women's fiction in the
Mhm.
last, I don't know, maybe even longer, like 10-ish, 8, 5 years, whatever, like, male authors. I've had enough of that.
Yeah.
But, I've always gravitated toward, like, fantasy, sci-fi.
Mhm.
I mean, my favorite books growing up were Harry Potter. I read all the Twilight books. Dune is a sci-fi book. I have arguably one of the best sci-fi book I've ever written.
Mhm.
I have read that multiple times, and I have the whole series. I'm gonna read it someday. Yeah, fantasy and sci-fi, but then a romance, anytime I would sprinkle in, like, a romance book, I would have that manic kind of, like, "I can't put it
Mhm.
down. I'm so happy. I want the feeling of having a crush on someone." Like, it's so fun to read. It's my favorite. And
Mhm.
so I was like, "What? Why am I, like, denying myself? I'm just gonna keep." So I've just started reading more and more romance again, like, chasing that feeling, and then discovering Hermione was crazy. Yeah, you wanna talk about having that dopamine rush or whatever.
Mhm.
So many of them are so good and make me feel that way. I'm like, I do really need to, read some more soon. But and like I'll read nonfiction, but it is like in the background. I'll probably read like a
Mhm.
chapter or like 10 pages, and then I'll read my regularly scheduled book. Or if I am like,
Right.
I need to go to sleep and this book will keep me awake. So I'm gonna read this boring nonfiction book. Every once in a while I read a
Mhm.
biography, but I don't really care about that either. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so fiction all the
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
But I'll probably try anything.
Yes. Mhm. Yes. I am in the same boat. I would say that the majority I of the books that I read, that I pick to read all on my own, definitely have some form of romance in them. Talking about From Blood and Ash and ACOTAR. I mean, romantasy, that genre has just
Mhm.
really exploded. I feel like in the last 5 years, there's just so many authors that are going that way, or maybe it's just there's so much more availability. I don't know how to, or if there
Yeah, I
that
feel like
crossover between sci-fi
yeah, maybe
and
publishing is
romance have
easier,
finally. Yeah.
or you can just find it so much easier now.
Mhm.
Like, it's shoved in
Yeah.
your face versus, like,
Right.
how else would you get book content besides, like, going to a bookstore in the
Mhm.
past? And now it's, like,
Right.
everywhere you turn.
It is. So I read a lot of that. Thrillers are great. I
Yeah,
joke I have a heart condition, so I can't read too many in a row or else I'm
yeah.
gonna be nervous. But I love I anything that will give you that rush. So that is one thing that I do like about thrillers. Horror is a pretty much a no for me.
Oh,
And
yeah, no way.
fiction all the way. I'm the same way. Like nonfiction is totally fine. And if it's about a person or a
Mhm.
topic or maybe even like a historical event that I find really interesting, I will give it a try, but it
Yeah,
does not usually suck me in or like you said, I will read 10 minutes of it and I can put it down and I can walk away for more than a week and I'm not really even thinking about it. So that's it. Now, I
mm,
will say that specifically which is boys romance.
hmm.
I got into that and it's kind of funny. People will listen to this and they'll be like, "How does that happen?" And I'm like, "No, really, this is how it happened." I had a Kindle recommendation for a book and both of the main characters' names were like Jamie and Taylor. So gender neutral. And I just went
Mhm.
into it and I was like, "Oh, I think both of the main characters are boys. What is going on?" And then I was like, "Oh, I actually really like this. This is like great." And so that was a happy accident on my part. But I would say that now it's kind of it's almost a 50-50 split. I feel like those are kind of half the books that I read. I found some authors within that genre that I really love. And it is kind of a specific subgenre. I think Heated Rivalry is out there now, but if you talk to most people, you would not know that
Yeah.
these type of books are written pretty regularly, or there's a lot of them out there. There's so many out there. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So that has become one
Mhm.
of the things that I really enjoy reading now as
Yeah.
well. But the romantasy still gets me really good. If I can find a really good one, it will hook me and
Yeah.
it will be
Yeah.
devoured within hours, if not
Mhm.
days.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've had a good romantasy. I mean, just I haven't even tried to
Really
pick one up.
suck you. Yeah.
Well, because again, I've been in my fan fiction bubble for so long, and where I've been
Mhm.
like, "Well, why? Why would I
Yeah.
try?" I was also just realizing too, because I was thinking, I hadn't really read romance. Heated Rivalry was really I'd read one a while ago. It was
Mhm.
more like friends to lovers, but it was 2 guys, and it was cute and fine. But then I realized too that I'm like, "Oh, yeah, fan fiction is super gay." So, like, in the background of a lot of Hermione's, it's like Harry and, like, Theo, which
Theo.
is a fan fiction character, but he's not really in the canon books, but, or there's just, like, these background other relationships that are happening that so I think that and I've gotten Jared to listen to some Hermione, he's like, there's recordings on Spotify and stuff, and so I think that primed him to be able to watch Heated Rivalry with me too, because he was
He
listening to
was
fan fictions where it has that in there, right? So you're just, like, exposed to it, it's not as
Mhm.
jarring, right? And then I was like,
Right.
"You wanna watch this show with me?"
I'm so
It was
jealous. I'm
perfect. It was so perfect. Yeah, amazing.
still trying to convince him. I don't think it's gonna happen, but,
Yeah.
So kind of my last question for you before we kinda maybe go over a couple of the books that we're definitely going to cover on, the podcast this
Yes.
year, but do you have a favorite book?
Favorite anything is such a hard question for me.
Right, yeah.
It's so hard, but I guess books off the top of my head, obviously, Harry Potter, I've read
Mhm.
that so many times. Have you ever read The Host by Stephanie
Yes.
Meyer?
Mhm.
I love that book,
That
and
was a great book.
I it's like I almost I don't know, I don't even think about it as my favorite necessarily, but I've read it multiple times. Every time I read it, I can't put it down. I know it's gonna
Mhm.
happen. I just, like I love it so much. Dune is another book, like, I've read over and over again. Rivalry, my current.
Yes.
Like I said, American Dirt, that, like, stands out
Mm.
to me, and then, of course, a lot of fan fictions, like, that are just so amazing and good, and if you are interested in reading a Hermione fan fiction, I would recommend starting with Remain Nameless by Hey Jude 19. It's one of my favorites. Draco's his, like, character arc and growth in that fic is so amazing. He starts so sad. He runs into Hermione at a coffee shop, and they just start, like, slowly talking more, and that fic, because I was trying to get my friend to read Manacled, and then I was like,
Mhm.
"Wait a minute. Hang on. I don't know if this is too intense." It's a pretty intense
Mhm.
fix, and I had been reading Remain Nameless. I was like, "Read this one. It's so good." And she couldn't remember anything from Harry Potter. She read them, like, a decade ago,
Yeah.
and so I wrote extremely detailed synopses of every Harry Potter book for her, and so we have those already in the bag.
We're ready. We could do those. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you can tell, I have always enjoyed writing, reading, talking about books in
Yes.
full.
Mhm.
So, all
Yeah.
my dreams. What about you? What's your favorite book?
So I agree. It's really hard to say. I will say that I have multiple copies of Pride and Prejudice. That's probably one of my favorites, and it's one of my favorite love stories.
Mhm. It's like
I can't
OG,
get enough
enemies
of
to
that. And
lovers.
obviously, mhm. Oh my, and the tension, and it's like just it's the tension. That's what gets me so good.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it a
Slow
ton. Harry
slow
Potter was
burn, baby.
definitely yes, yes. Just Harry Potter shaped so much of my childhood that there's no way that I can say that those are not a part of my favorite books. I'm reading them to my children, forcing them into having my same childhood
I
interests,
can't wait until my kids are old enough.
And then obviously, eh, I would say that even before the show or rereading it, The Heated Rivalry, that love story was one of my favorites that I had ever read. And then rereading it and then watching it come to life on the screen, it was absolutely
All my dreams.
mind-boggling.
All
Yes.
my dreams.
I'm
Yeah.
not the psychosis is real. So just
Mhm. Yeah, it's so
real.
intense, and, like, the mass psychosis. This is
Mhm.
the first time because like, I've experienced this before, but all by myself. I had one
Mhm.
friend who, thank God, also understood my obsession with Hermione, and so, like, I was able to talk I had somebody to talk to about it,
Mhm. Mhm.
but, that was why I started making TikToks too, because I was like, "Okay, I gotta talk to somebody about Hermione.
Yeah.
I just gotta." So, my phone is a great captive audience, but yeah, to experience that with everybody in between
It's
episodes of what it was crazy and, like, so
it
fun.
was.
I aspire, like, I hope that happens again to me. I can't wait till season 2 comes out. I hope it's just as good. Please, please, please.
Fingers crossed. I have a feeling Jacob did right by the first season by doing it the way he
Yeah,
did it, and I have a feeling he's going to stick true to the original books, to
I hope so. Everybody
the
would be
same plot line. Yeah.
so mad. I don't see how we could not.
Yeah. I know. So, speaking of which, the Game Changer series, which is in Heated Rivalry,
Oh,
will definitely
mhm.
be one of the books that we will cover those this year. We've
Yes.
kind of got a timeline set out. Those are going to be coming out probably in the summertime. We're going to go through each book. The seventh book in this Game Changer series, it just was announced within the last week or two, is going to be called
Mhm.
Unrivaled, and it comes out September 27th. So our plan is to get the entire series up until that book reviewed and discussed, and then we will do that book obviously immediately when it comes out
I can't
and talk about it.
wait.
I
And I'm
can't
like, "Am I
either.
gonna reread the series again?" Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I just read it in December.
Yeah. Well, let's be
I
real. We
can't
just read
wait.
it in December and we both reread Heated Rivalry and The Long Game twice in
Yeah.
December as well. Yeah.
Totally normal behavior. Thank you for
Yes.
asking. Okay. So yeah, definitely the Game Changers series. Okay, None of This Is True, which is a thriller that we read recently for book club. That's gonna be our
Mhm.
first episode. The
The next
Island.
by Briar
Sorry.
Prescott. No, it's okay.
Yeah,
And we are reading A Dark Lord's Guide to Dating right now, and
which is
People We
really
Meet on
funny.
it's hilarious. Oh my
Yes, I can't
gosh.
wait to talk about that.
I can't wait
Ah,
to talk about that book either.
it's a little longer, but still worth it.
It is worth it. And then we are going to give ourselves a little bit of a break and pick a shorter book to review after those three. And we're going to
Yeah.
do People We Meet on Vacation. That was a little bit inspired since
Yay.
that movie just came out on Netflix.
Yes. See, that was another me being a feral raccoon. I watched the movie, had not read the book. The movie was really cute, but I had been hearing that it was not a good book to
Uh,
movie adaptation. So I was like, I better watch the movie first. And then
mhm.
it was so cute, and I was like, I can't. I was like, uh-oh, it's 12:30 at night, but I have to download this book right now and start reading it. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like giving in to all of my urges. It's really cute so far. I'm excited.
And then we have some other books that we're thinking about, but we jokingly thought about naming this podcast like TBR Destroyers or something kind of jokingly like, hey, we have this list of books that we're going to read, but inevitably we are going to have a book that just crashes through our lives because it happens
Yeah,
to me all the time. And then we're going to be like,
100%.
nope, you know what? Just kidding. We are going to talk about this book. And this
Yeah.
was not on the list, but we don't care because it was
I know,
so
right,
good. We
right.
just have to talk about it.
We have
Yeah.
been derailed. Yeah, 100%.
So we've got some other ones in the works. We'll probably try to release some more. We have some ideas of ones that we're going to read, but we talked about maybe even doing the Harry Potter series. The maybe do some comparison from the original Manacled work with Alchemized because we both are attempting to
Mhm.
kind of get through read that as well. So,
Yeah. We'll
yeah,
see. I'd
we'll
also love to,
see.
yeah, whenever the next Fourth Wing book is coming out to, like, cover all of those. They're super long, though, but we could probably do them slowly over time,
We could.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
Yes, we've got a general outline, but we are just winging it. So we
I
will
know.
see what ends up coming up later half of the year for sure.
And I'm like, "Okay, gotta keep reminding myself." I'm like, "I can read other books. I don't have to
Mhm.
read everything with Cami."
I know I'm like, I need to take a
Yeah.
okay, I need to
What else are you reading right now?
well, I went to the stock show. I think I told you that. And
Mm,
I tried to get into a cowboy romance and I that was like a that was a 3-star for me. Like it was just
yeah.
kind of it was fine, but it didn't really kind of grip me the way that I wanted to.
Mhm.
I have wanted well, we've talked about reading this together though, so I'm kind of waiting, but the non-Game Changer series, the Rachel Reed book, The Shots You
Oh,
Take,
yes. Okay, let's add it
I
to the
re
list. I have that.
okay, well, okay,
Okay, we
okay,
gotta get our shit together, finish Dark Lord and People Meet on Vacation, and then we can just read that one.
okay, sounds
Poor
good.
Martia, or, like, how do you say that one?
I don't know
Hamartia?
how Hamarti maybe
Hamartia? I am notoriously bad at
it's a
pronouncing things.
me too, but it is a rock star romance. I've already read it, um,
Yeah, so we can put
but
it
I'm willing
off.
to reread it. Yeah, but it is so
Yeah,
good. Oh my gosh, it is
yeah.
so good. So we've got that, and then I also push for God of Fury. The entire Legacy of God series by Rena Kent is all very good. It's a darker college romance setting with kind of rival universities and
Yeah.
rival groups within universities and but the God of Fury book, it's kind of interesting. That one, I read the first book in that series, and then I saw a lot of people say that God of Fury was the best one in the series. and it's
Yeah.
very similar where it's an interconnected standalone. So you can read 1, 3, and 4, and you can kinda skip the rest if you really would like to, but God of Fury is another MM1, and
Yeah.
besides Shane and Ilya, I think they're my favorite couple. So,
Ooh, yeah, I'm excited to read that one too. But we have
yeah.
talked about being like, "That one's so popular. Should we talk about
Mhm.
it?" But
Yes.
I'm like, if we're both reading it at the same time, we might as well.
I know. I mean, because is the part of the goal of this podcast is for maybe you to just be like either A, hey, I've heard great things about that book, and but maybe I'm not going to have time to read it. So
Mhm.
let me listen to what you guys have to say about it.
Yes.
Or I've already read that book and I want to hear what you guys have to say. Or maybe
Yeah.
even just, oh, you guys are going to read this book next. I'm going to read it at the same time, and then I want to hear what your opinion and your thought process on that book is.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Because it will
mhm.
be like you're hearing everything that happens in the book with us interrupting the story.
Yes, yes,
There will
adding
be
our own
spoilers,
interjections.
okay?
Hmm.
Don't listen if
Lots of
you don't
spoilers.
wanna know what happens because
Yes.
you will know what
It
happens
is
by
not
the end.
just a simple, "This book was good or bad," and what we thought of it. It is an entire outline of exactly what happened in the book. Kind of a
Mhm.
play-by-play, a condensed play-by-play. It's not
Yeah.
gonna feel condensed. It hasn't felt
Yeah,
super condensed yet, but
right. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I interesting because I already recapped the Harry Potters. I've been doing this for
Mhm,
longer, so it took a while too for me to get to the point where being like, "Okay, I really love this part. I wanna talk about" like, it's so
mhm,
funny, but, being
mhm,
like, "Okay, Kirsten, it has nothing to do with the story. It doesn't change anything. If I leave it out, it changes nothing." Like, that's so hard
mhm,
because you're like, "It's so funny. I have to tell" or
mhm,
like, "This little detail."
mhm. Or it's like this
So,
very
yeah,
minuscule thing. This is, like, my favorite part of the book, but it's actually not a super important detail. So
right. It doesn't
trying to
matter. Yeah, so it's hard.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
very hard. But thank God
ridiculously
for
hard.
technology, highlight
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited, and we're very excited for all of you to listen to us just
Yeah.
gab and gab and gab about books. It's gonna be
Yes.
great.
Please listen to our first episodes because this episode is nothing like well, I mean, kind of we're talking, but anyway, it's not how the other
Yeah.
ones are gonna go. So if you are listening to this and you're like, "This sucks," maybe please listen to us actually talk about a book before. But also like and subscribe or whatever you're supposed to say when you have a podcast or something.
Tell
We're
your
on
friends.
Instagram.
Plus, we're on
Follow us on
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yes.
I also TikTok eventually, I don't know, but
We'll get there.
totally booked right now. Everything just Google, look up totally booked right now. You should find
Mhm.
us.
Yep. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we look forward to having you come back and listen to some more. Have us talk about some books.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.